Hi, my name is Guy Glidden. I'm the Newman University Southeast Kansas Program Coordinator, and this is the beginning of a three-part presentation on the topic of teaching as a career. Now, this is a program is going to be offered on something called a screencast, and this simply means that you're going to be able to listen to my voice while I'm showing you a series of PowerPoint slides. And it's in three parts. This part, which is going to take about 8 minutes, is going to be on the topic of career searches, and it's going to focus on the kinds of questions that you might want to ask about this process. Secondly, I'm going to be talking in the second presentation about the attributes that seem to be related to being an effective or a successful teacher. And third, I'm going to talk about the program in which Newman University co-ops with Lebec Community College in providing an elementary education baccalaureate degree major program that might be useful to do. So with that process, let's get started and talk about questions. All career searches start with information. Basically, you need to find information that's important to you, answers your questions, and we're going to talk about some of those questions are. And obviously, it goes without saying, in order to get good information, you got to ask good questions. So there's two parts to this process. One is, what questions should I ask to get this information? And secondly, where might I find that information? We're going to address both of those in a few minutes of this process. Here are two big questions for any career search, and we're applying these to jobs in teaching, jobs in education, but they would apply anywhere, so we'll just go right at them. Because first of all, people want to know, will jobs be available? Makes sense. You're investing in your education right now. You're taking Lebec Community College courses, and so you want to know if you put together a career preparation program, are there going to be jobs available in that area when you get through the preparation? And secondly, what about the compensation? Wages, salaries, benefits package. So is there going to be enough money in this for me to pay back my student loans? Can I support a family? Can I support myself? Can I get an apartment or whatever I need to live in? So these are some of the things that we need to address. Now, let's talk in general about where you're going to find information. First of all, there are lots of websites available on the aspect of need for teachers. Generally, I would encourage you to research those as part of your work in this course that you're taking, Intro to Education. In general, they're going to tell you two things. On a national and on a state basis, there is a continuing demand for teachers. There are lots of needs to replace teachers who are retiring and leaving the profession. So there are lots of openings for teachers every year at the state level, at the national level. Secondly, they're going to tell you that flexibility and options always help. There are certain areas and specialty teaching areas where there are more needs than there are for others. But in all cases, the more credentials you have, the more things you can do, the more flexible you are in terms of where I might get this job, are always going to help you in a career search. Now, I would suggest to you that you pay a lot more attention, or certainly pay attention to subsidizing this information by looking for local information. Local information from Southeast Kansas school districts that maybe you attended or you know. You're in Lebec Community College, and that would include school districts in the immediate area served by this school area. So, and information about teacher needs can be obtained simply by calling these boards of education. And all of these school districts have websites, so you could simply find out what are your demand for teachers. You could probably find out how many teachers have you hired recently in past years. What are you looking for in terms of hiring plans? And salary schedules, those documents that tell you what your salary would be when you start and what your potential for salary increases are, is public information. So these would be big sources to help you out in this process. There would be 4 questions that I would encourage you to ask in terms of your personal research. And they basically have to do with the aspects of, is teaching a good fit for me? Is it something that I'm going to enjoy, something I could probably do at knowing a little bit about me as a person? Here's what I would suggest. Let's start by making a list of what would be positive things about teaching and what would be stressful things about teaching. Now, you don't have to rely on your own resources. I would suggest that you combine this with some of the questioning processes and searches for information that you're probably going to be doing as part of the Intro to Education course that you're taking. Because I suspect you're going to do some observations, you're going to be having a chance to talk to teachers. So talk to these people, teachers that you're going to be observing in schools or have been in the school districts. Many are successful, they're effective teachers. What do they think is positive about the job? Obviously there are some positive things, or they wouldn't be still doing it. Also, what's stressful about the job? What kind of things would they warn you about? That these are stresses you should be aware of. It can also put you maybe in touch with people who have left the teaching profession, because we do have a lot of that going on. People who start teaching, and then after they start teaching, they say, this isn't for me. So what do these people say? Why did they leave teaching? These would be some people you might be on the lookout for. Obviously, you can learn a lot by talking with someone who has enjoyed a career in teaching, but it would also be important that you stress the idea of, let's make sure that we're talking about some of the things that aren't going so well. Every job has ups and downs. No job is a bed of roses. So you need to be asking questions, and you need to putting that together with some of the aspects that would be important to you. So this has been focusing basically on a questioning process, and it simply sets the groundwork. Now, I would encourage, after you listen to this section, take a few minutes, maybe put together some questions, maybe some information you've learned if you've already done some questioning answer. And the next section of this presentation, which you can look at independently, is going to talk about what we know about some of the attributes that seem to be important to successful or effective teaching. So, and at a later time, you can take a look at that and compare your notes and put these two pieces of information together. Thank you.